Welcome to the Sportswagers.ca podcast with Brian Sherwood Steinberg and Matthew Finney.
Welcome to the Sportswagers.ca podcast. I am the man behind the board, Matthew Finney, joined of course by Brian Sherwood Steinberg. Good day, Brian. Happy New Year. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Matt. Happy New Year to you too. And Happy New Year to all our listeners. We really appreciate the support. We had a good year last year. Units fluctuate, but for the most part, we are roughly about 17 years of real consistency. You'd be hard-pressed to find any outfit that's going to give away the type of plays we do consistently and come out ahead. So, I take pride in that. I think you take pride in that too. I just want to say that Matt has been a big help in the process for us. He helps me every day with research. He helps me every day with finding and digging deep into the numbers and trying to come up with something reasonable, something that looks at a place, something that gives us an edge or great value. And, together I think we've come up with a process that's working right now, and we're going to stick with it. And, our mantra has always been to look for value, play it, let the chips fall where they may, and to never get away from that sort of thing. There are touts out there. There are people out there claiming some just outrageous stuff. 60 or 70% winners. One of these days, Matt, we're going to put up a challenge on our website, to anybody. Put up $1,000 and we'll pay you back $10,000 if you can go, 6 months like you claim you are of hitting 60% winners or 65% winners. It's just not possible. There's so much in-game variance. I don't want to sound redundant, but we talk about this all the time, and it's so true. The more you watch sports and the more you embrace the in-game variances that occur, the more you realize how impossible it is to predict winners. It's just impossible. I got a tweet from somebody on New Year's Day. There was 5 bowl games. We took 4 of them, actually, and went 1-3. And somebody tweeted out rough day in college football to start the year. Well, you know what? It wasn't really a rough day. I mean, we went 1-3, but it wasn't a rough day, for me or for us. I don't think we made weak picks. I think we made great picks. It was a bad day for Lincoln Riley on Oklahoma. And that's another in-game variance, right? The way he coached Oklahoma was the way Atlanta was coached in the Super Bowl last year. Look, here you had Georgia and their great defense, and Oklahoma puts up 30 points in the first half, and they got 600 yards of offense, and they're doing everything right. And then they get a big lead. And everything changes, just like Atlanta. They got conservative. They got less aggressive. They made all the wrong calls. They even had a chance in overtime when Georgia got the ball first, and they went in and scored 3 points. And now Oklahoma took it from the 25-yard line with a chance to win it, right? Again, they put 600 yards up on that great defense. When they were being aggressive, they were moving the ball at will. Right? And what does he do? He starts running the ball. And on 4th and 1, when they've shredded this defense all day, he decides to kick a game-tying field goal, right? So that's the in-game variance we talk about. Like, we lost that game. Oklahoma, when they scored 30 points or more in the first half, were something like, 23-0 over the last few years, 23-0. So we're in a great position to win that game. Had we won that game and went 2-2, we have a winning day. And what about Michigan? Michigan is up 19-3. 19-3. It looked like South Carolina was dead in the water. Couldn't move 5 yards. And then Michigan's up 19-3 at the 4-yard line of South Carolina. They punch it in there. It's 26-3. Game over, right? Guy fumbles the ball. South Carolina recovers, and they march 97 yards for a touchdown. Now it's 19-10, then another touchdown, another. I mean, that one play, that one fumble changed everything. So that's what I mean when we talk about in-game variance. One play changes the entire landscape of the game. And there's not a single tout in the world, not one in the world, that can predict the stuff that goes on, the coaching decisions, the referee calls, the subjective calls, the goalposts in hockey, the power play, or penalty kill, like all these a hot shooting team in basketball or a cold shooting team in basketball. Like we had Georgia Tech the other night, and they had a 12-point lead with about 6 minutes to go. Then all of a sudden they went cold. All of a sudden, they went cold as ice, and they don't hit another basket until 2 minutes to go in the game. And they almost got caught, right? So all these in-game variances are impossible, absolutely impossible to predict. And we will keep insisting or preaching that that's the way it is, and that you have to go with the best of it when you're betting sports. You cannot get caught up in all this other crap that the media or touts are trying to sell, that they can predict winners, that, you listen to these guys on TV that, the panels on TV that talk about football and hockey, and they're breaking it down by the X's and O's. I can analyze every single football game in 2 seconds. Every single football game, or 95% of them, I can analyze every single one of them in 5 seconds flat, just by saying, I'll tell you who's going to win this game. The team that gets the bounces with the turnovers, and the team that gets the calls by the referees. That's who your winner is. It's got nothing to do with this defense is better than this offense, and this team can run, and this team can't stop the run, and this team. It's ridiculous, right? We've seen it over and over and over and over again. 95% of the games. Whoever gets the bounces, whoever gets the calls, that's your winner. Bang. It's been analyzed. It's over. That's it. So I'll say it again, that nobody can predict the outcome of games. It's just absolutely incredibly impossible. You have to go with, and that's why we preach, you have to go with the best of it, and I'll say that till I'm blue in the face. And there's not a person on this planet that can make an argument against it. You have to go with the best of it. Look for over and under reactions. Take the inflated points. Play short price favorites that should be higher. We're proving it in hockey, right? We're giving you almost every single game that I post on hockey over the last 2-3 months, after a month or 6 weeks into the season, until we got a good look at all these teams and the analytics came into clear view, where it wasn't a small sample size anymore. I can almost give you every single game which team is going to play better. Very few times am I on the team that got outplayed, right? It doesn't mean they're going to win. It all comes down to luck again. And it just goes back to just going with the best of it and sticking with it. And as we proved again last year, with close to 1,500 plays and under 45% winning percentage, we ended up over 100 units. So the proof is in the pudding. I think over the last 17 years, and I'm not 100% sure, I'll look it over, we've had 2 losing seasons in 17 years. There's not a tout in the business that can make that same claim that's not charging for picks. You're going to pay to get losing seasons from everybody.
You talk about it, give me the best goal, give me the turnovers, give me the bounces, I'll give you a winner. That does not make for very entertaining write-ups. It doesn't make for very entertaining plays. We see so many pick sellers, pundits, all these sorts of things they rely on against the spread records, lazy trends, those sorts of things. That's why we like situations. We look for look-ahead spots. Even the other day with the Miami Hurricanes in basketball, a team that has traveled all over the globe. They didn't get a Christmas break. They went to Hawaii, and then they went to Pennsylvania, and then they were in Georgia, and they got, Florida State coming up in their home opener this weekend, and maybe we could catch them in a good spot, on the road before that game. And we got lucky, not lucky, but it ended up being a good play. It came through, but we love situations. It's not just X's and O's and the breaking down the plays. Like I said, we don't care about who's got the best defense, who's got the best offense. We're looking for numbers, we're looking for overreactions, and we're looking for situations.
Yeah, you cannot, we've said this before too, Matt. You can't take the human element out of anything. These guys are just human. to travel around the country and to play in a tournament in Hawaii over the Christmas holidays. These are young college kids, right? These are young college kids having the time of their life. And you cannot take the human element out of that. You can't take the human element out of anything. They're just human beings like the rest of us. They have good days and they have bad days. And if you can find great situations, you have a big edge. And we've proven that. We've had so many great situational plays this year. That goes to part of our research. Like, we're up. We don't just look at a game and throw it out there. Trust me when I tell you that Matt and I, we're up very early in the morning. 6:30, 7 o'clock. And we're digging so deep into these games, trying to find that one edge. It's not just picking a game, and saying, oh, this team is, hot and shooting lights out, and they rank 4th in the league in 3-point shooting or whatever. We're looking deep into situations. We're trying to find any single angle, that may give us an edge, and then you put that together with the other stuff, with the other criteria, and you come up with good plays, especially in college, because these are really just kids that are in school that have to deal with so much other than just playing sports, right? They're under pressure. They're not getting paid. They have their school. They have a certain standard they have to meet. They have to deal with that. They have to deal with their peers. Growing up. So college is a completely different animal than pros. In the pros, you have a lot of different situations too. So I think it's really important, that you do include situational plays in your criteria like we do, and then apply that or add it to the over and under reactions, and you can find some you can always find some good plays. There's so many games every single day. One of the beautiful things about betting on sports, Matt, is that we have a choice. We don't have to bet every game. We don't have to bet a big marquee game. We don't have to bet a game that everybody's talking about. We can look at these obscure college games or obscure conferences and find some great situations in there, or some of these lesser games in the NHL, like between, let's say, Detroit and Columbus or something like that. You go down the list of big matchups or marquee matchups, and you have a choice. You have your choice of games, whereas the bookmaker, the sports book, does not. They have to take your bet or anyone's bet. So that's a bit of an advantage we have, and it's also something you should keep in your mind, in the back of your mind, right? You don't have to bet every game. You don't have, if you're struggling with the game, right? Like, we often hear people saying, "Oh, I'm going to buy a half a point." If you're struggling with a game and you think you need a half a point to cover the number to get that edge, why are you even betting that game? Just pass. Go on to the next game. Do you know what I mean? Like, why are you killing yourself worrying about this game and thinking you need a half a point? Just pass on the game. When we bet a game, Matt, when you and I, we talk every day, we think our team is going to win by, obviously they're not going to win by 20, but we think they're going to win by 20. We think every team we bet is going to win, and it's going to win easy. Like, there's no way in hell I'm ever going to buy a half a point, ever. And if you're thinking about buying a half a point, you should be passing on that game and moving on to the next one, because there's 40 other games. So keep that in mind too when you're making your wagers or your picks. Another thing I hear a lot of, Matt, how many times have you heard this? And we've heard this so many times. You take a team, right? Let's say the Dallas Cowboys. You'll hear somebody say something like this: that team never does what I ask them to do. I never win when I bet that team, and I never win when I bet against them, right? How many times have you heard that?
Quite
that
often,
team,
yeah.
It's that team. I never win when I bet that team, right? How many times have you heard that over the years, about somebody referring to a team? Well, there's a very easy solution to that. Don't bet that team. Don't even look at them. If you never win with them, don't bet them, right? Just don't bet them. Don't even look at them. Don't even bet them. There's 40 other games that day. So it's kind of funny when you hear these things. These are all things to be mindful of. when you're, looking through the daily menu, there's a lot of really good things out there.
You talk about, like, especially when you got teams that, I can't get the Cowboys right, I can't get the Seahawks, they always screw me, that kind of thing. Personal bias, it's so hard. Those things build up over time, and you and I are lucky enough that we don't really, if we're holding the ticket, we cheer for you, and things could turn the next day, and often it does. If we're looking at certain situations that we were talking about, Miami and Georgia Tech earlier, and one of the reasons we liked that game was because Miami had FSU coming up, and so just out of curiosity, I was like, well, what's FSU doing tonight, and what are they doing before this game? And sure enough, they were playing North Carolina, in a really big game, and they won. And so now you've got FSU coming off that big win at Carolina, going to Miami coming off a loss. It's inevitable that there's going to be over and under reactions. Everyone in the world was on Miami the other night, right? And so now it's going to be so hard for them to come back. So in another situation like that, especially against a Florida State team that just beat North Carolina, and so it's so interesting when you take that approach. And so the situations are nice, but beyond that, like, how many times have you and I started a game, and it happened to me today, where you like everything on paper. We like the number, we like the covers consensus, we like it checks all the boxes, and you get, a paragraph and a half in, and then maybe you see something you don't like anymore. It's hard to bail when you put that effort in. Like, so you dig deep every single day. But we do it, and it has been done. Like I said, and I did it again today. We'll see what happens. But UCI Chicago is playing IUPI, PUI, the Jaguars. And the Jaguars just beat Green Bay up in Wisconsin, undefeated. The Phoenix were at the time. And in the Horizon League, that's a big victory for them. And so, it's going to be hard for them to go play, 3-win Chicago tonight. But I got in there, and what I saw was the Jaguars' strength of schedule. And it's really good. And so it's easy to see one thing and then back away. Now, maybe Chicago covers tonight, and I was right in the first place, but we don't just go full steam. Like, it really is digging. We really do work to try to find, the really good plays. And so there's so much that we use even just beyond situations. We love analytics. We like some fancy stats. We love those sorts of things. And so we never really degrade one approach or anybody's approach to handicapping. There's lots of people out there that we respect and follow. And one of the guys that I liked was Rob Pizzola. And I even still do, actually. I appreciate his opinion. I kind of like his snark. I like that kind of sort of humor, that kind of thing. And more often than not, he does have a lot of really good information and brings something to the table that I'm not really into, which is spreadsheets and simulating games and all those sorts of things. They talk about closing line value and all that kind of stuff. And we kind of got ourselves into not that we were looking for trouble, but we kind of got a bit of a drive-by situation over the holidays here. Do you want to maybe address that a little bit?
Well, I honestly, Matt, I don't know Rob Pizzola. I never met the guy, never heard about him, never followed him. Never knew who he was until a few readers started pointing out his attack on our website and our approach about a year ago, and it was constant. And over that time, I never commented towards him. I never said a bad word to him. I never tweeted him back and said, "What are you talking about? Why are you doing this? What the fuck?" Right? I never said a word to him in my entire life, but he kept going on and on and on and on. And again, keep in mind, I never commented on any of his tweets or attacks on our work. And it went on for about a year. And then I made one small comment about something he wrote. I think it was I don't even remember what it was. And Pizzola went, apeshit over that, right? He he hijacked this other guy's blog and wrote a whole almost 2-page letter or blog about why we're irrelevant, why we don't know what the fuck we're doing. Like, the guy just went apeshit, which is fine. I don't care. He's entitled to his opinion. He called me a dinosaur in this business. Didn't know what I was talking about. Meanwhile, I got about 16 or 17 years, 16 out of 17 years of winning bets. And, I started looking at Rob's stuff on his Twitter, and the guy's an intelligent guy. There's no question about it. He knows what he's talking about. He actually, I think a lot of it had to do with our disdain for touts, and because he joined forces with a tout service called the Prediction Machine, he kind of took it personally I mean, I don't know. I'm speculating, but I think he took it personal, like our disdain for touts. He took personally, and then he started attacking us, right? Because we were so against touts. And yeah, I did a little research on the prediction machine. This is what I found. Somebody was asking about the service on a couple of very popular forums, like the RX is a very popular forum. There's a couple other ones out there too, and this is what they said about the prediction machine. I'm just going to read a couple of comments. This is when Rob Pizzola was what was he, the CEO or the head of whatever,
Business manager,
whatever.
development, marketing, whatever.
Whatever, yeah. So this is what they wrote. One guy wrote, "Save your money. I've used him since this was last year. Save your money. I've used him since week 5 in NFL, and he is down in college football, NFL, and now bowl games with Georgia Tech +3 today." Again, that wasn't this year. That was last year. Here's another. Both NFL and college football season were around 50%. NBA sides were around 54%. College basketball, so far, not good, between 47 and 50%. The service is very easy to use, and they're always friendly in correspondence, and I have never had any problems with them, but you won't make money when figuring in the juice and the cost of this service. After 1 year, I will never use them again. It was a $600 lesson. And finally, there was this last one. They are like every other tel service that in the end, it will cost you way more than it's worth. It costs me. I believe they do the work, but the results were pedestrian at best. They might work hard, but their so-called simulations do not work. So that's what they said about the prediction machine. But Rob is he left there for greener pastures. But the point is that I thought, I mean, here's the thing, right? We're essentially on the same side. Like I don't want Rob Pizzola to lose. I actually want him to win because I know a lot of people follow him. And I thought we were on the same side. I thought that every person, every handicapper is on the same side, right? It's us against the line makers. That's what it is. I don't root for anybody to lose, Matt. I know that people follow Rob, and therefore I know how tough it is out there. And therefore, I hope he wins. I hope he does well. I know a lot of people follow him. And again, I thought we're on the same side, right? He is an intelligent guy. He has a lot of good points, but I don't know why he was so adamant about attacking what we're doing. Like, if you don't like what we're doing, that's fine. You have your opinion. Don't follow us. Don't read it, and don't post excerpts. Like, why are you spending so much time looking at something you don't like, right? If I read something from somebody I don't like, I just don't go back there. I don't. If I was quoting handicappers, if I was quoting, them and attacking, I'd be doing that 12 hours a day, right? I mean, I see the most ridiculous stuff out there. The most ridiculous stuff. People using stuff like, the Cowboys are 10-2-1 against the spread the week after losing by 6 points or more. Like, the craziest stuff. I see that stuff all the time, and I just don't go back. I don't read it. I don't pay attention to it. If you don't like something, don't pay attention to it, right? So, again, I go back to, I thought we're all on the same side, I mean, it's tough enough picking winners, Matt. I really do put my heart and soul into this website, and I know you do too. And we write this stuff up every day. For all you people out there, take a half an hour out of one of your days and try and write up one game with good points, with original stuff, with unique takes, not only do we have to come up with the game, we have to write it up. It would be real easy to write the name of a team, Boise State +6, and that's it, with no reason, no nothing, right? It would be so easy to do that. Do you know how difficult it is to put in a write-up for every single game? Like, just try it. Just for one day, for one write-up, just try doing one, and you'll see how difficult it is. And we're all supposed to be on the same side. If you don't like my approach, like I've actually gone to people and said, like handicappers that I like, that I think are trying hard and are trying to do the right thing and are giving it their all, I've gone into them and sent a private message and, said, maybe you should look at something like this, as opposed to attacking and ripping somebody apart that's trying their best, that's working or doing the best they can, just like he is. He's doing the best he can, and I'm doing the best I can, right? You ever go into a bank, Matt, or wherever, it doesn't really matter where you go, and you're being serviced. Like there's somebody, even a cashier at a grocery store, right? And it seems like, the simplest tasks they're having trouble with. And you can get very impatient and it could be very frustrating, right? You just want to say, just fucking, give your head a shake and let's move on, right? You got to always remember that those people are doing the best they can, just like you are. They're doing the best they can. There's no reason to get upset. There's no reason to get all crazy. There's no reason for any of that. They're doing the best they can, just like you are. And I'm doing the best I can, just like Rob is. I'm doing the best I can. Everything I put out there is genuine. If you don't like it, that's fine. That's fine. But you know what? Be mindful that we're on the same side. We're not against one another. We are for one another. All the people that follow you, they may make a bet that you've made, and I want them all to win. I want people to win money. I want people to do well. I want, whether they're investing in stocks, betting on football or hockey or basketball games, or just working out there, I want people to do well and succeed. So I do respect Rob and what he does. I think he does make a lot of good points, and I want him to do well. But I don't think that his approach to this, again, I have to say, I never said a word to the man in my life. Never, ever, not one single word. Never had a bad exchange. Never met him. Never knew who he was. Not one single word have I. And even after he was attacking our site for a year, at least a year, I never said, this guy's an idiot, this guy's a prick, this guy's never, nothing. Because you know what? If you can't take the heat, you got to stay out of the kitchen. And I can take the heat. It doesn't matter. What he thinks about me matters not. But I just want to reiterate that, as bettors, as sports bettors, we are all on the same side. The information that we share to get an edge is for one reason and one reason and only, and that's to win money. That's to beat the bookmaker. That's to get an edge. And if we can correlate with other people, if we could, help others, that's great. That's power, So again, I want everybody to win. We want everybody to win. We put our heart and soul into this. We do it for nothing, and people will say, well, why do you do it for nothing? Nothing's for nothing. And, that may be true. And you can believe what you want, like I started this website. It was a very Mickey Mouse website years ago, 15 years ago. It was Mickey Mouse. It was so Mickey Mouse, my website. And I put it together only because I did the work, and I was betting sports every single day. Every single day I was doing the work anyway, and I thought I'd put it on paper, and it just kind of snowballed into something that I really enjoyed doing. I've met a lot of good people. I've had great correspondence. I became friends with some influential people in this business. It's opened the door for me for other stuff, and it's been great, and I don't plan on giving it up. We run free webinars, Matt, you and I. We've ran a ton of free webinars on live betting and how to beat that. When Exchange was in, the Betfair Exchange was in this region, we were running webinars on how to beat that. We're running webinars on value parlays. We're doing all these things to help people because we want you to win. And I do the work anyway. I want to stress I do the work anyway, and I enjoy it. And trust me when I tell you I'm not making a fortune like some people are suggesting on my affiliates. I really make fuck all on them. I kid you not. So every game that I post on my website, I bet myself. We bet, Matt, you and I, and we put our heart into it. So I just want to put that to rest. I will not bring it up again, but I thought it was worth responding to because a lot of people have emailed me. I had a great response from people that were on my side when Rob and this other guy that I don't even want to mention because I think he's a complete idiot attacked us. So I just wanted to put that to rest. What that was all about. It really means nothing. But at the end of the day, Matt, we're supposed to be on the same side. We're not supposed to be against one another. We're supposed to be on the same side. We got the same goals. We have the same desires, We're supposed to be on the same side. And I think that's important. I'm not out to cut down, run down, wish anything negative on anybody. Why would I want to do that? It's hard enough out there, we all work hard, we all try hard, and if we could help people to earn a few extra dollars or at least to make them a better handicapper, I think we've done that to a great extent, and we're going to continue to do it, Matt.
Yeah, Brian, I think you summed it up. We're just all trying our best out there, and, we got plans. We got big plans.
What we have to look forward to in the new year, we're going to be running some more webinars on in-game betting. That is becoming bigger and bigger by the month, by the year. It's a great way to make money. And there's so many good opportunities in in-game live wagering. We're going to run more webinars on that. We're going to run more webinars on parlay betting, true value in parlay betting. We've opened up our YouTube channel. And there's going to be a lot of great videos, and we're going to just continue to preach the good word, Matt. We're going to continue to preach the good word. Do not ever, 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 ever pay for picks, okay? Trust me when I tell you that these people do not know more than you. You go on the internet and you see a million names. The doctor's picks, this guy's gold star pick. And there's so many tout services now. And all they are marketers. That's all they are. If they knew something, if they knew more than you, they wouldn't be asking you for 20 or 40 or 60 bucks. Nobody can predict the outcome of games, right? You have to look for value. So we're going to keep preaching, never pay for picks. It's ridiculous. There was an article a couple days ago in the USA Today, actually a couple of articles regarding this guy, Rob Gordetsky, who was in Vegas flashing all this money and saying he won it from sports and saying how he's betting 100 and 150,000 a game. And the USA Today covered this article. It was they lost a lot of credibility by doing so. It's just all a lot of hogwash and just another one of these touts. He was saying how he's getting banned or barred from Vegas casinos and how he's going to start selling his picks now. Just a big-time hoax, big-time scam. This guy knows absolutely nothing more. He may know a lot about sports, but nobody can predict the outcome. So you really have to stick with our philosophies. It's proven over and over that the best approach to sports betting are the philosophies that we've embraced and shared with you, and will continue to preach and pound into your heads, to make you a better sports bettor. And you kind of have to, I've said this before, you kind of have to, if you're just starting out, you kind of have to wipe your mind clean, about everything about sports. It's very much like the stock market, right? You buy low, you sell high. When everyone's jumping off a team, that's when you jump on, right? It's very much like the stock market. You don't have to really know a lot about these teams, but if you follow them in the market, that's going to give you a bigger edge than what they're doing on the court or on the field or on the ice, right? Over and under reactions, just like in the stock market. That's really all it is, and find these situational plays, these value bets, these over and under reactions, and don't worry about the X's and O's because they don't mean anything. All right, so just stick to those philosophies. We're going to keep preaching it throughout the year. We're going to be running these podcasts frequently with all our different philosophies. They're going to be up on the website, on YouTube, and we're just going to keep doing what we're doing, Matt. And we really I can't thank people enough for the support we've got over the years. the support we got when that recent attack, the aforementioned attack on us came in. We actually gained a lot more followers, because people were like, who is this guy? Who is this guy? And then they would, follow me. And then later on, a few days later, I get a message from some of them saying, what the hell are these guys talking about? Your stuff is tremendous. So I really appreciate the support, and we're going to continue with what we're doing. No one is going to get in the way of what we're doing. The website is free, always will be free. The picks are free and always will be free, and we will never sway from that ever, Matt.
I like it. Let's get to the plugs, Brian. Follow Brian on Twitter, @SportsWagers3. Of course, the show, @SportsWagersPod. Brian, we're on Facebook. You know that. Facebook.com/SportsWagers. And we've joined the kiddies. We're on Instagram, Brian, @SportsWagers.ca. And of course, like Brian said, we're on YouTube. We do not have a custom link yet for that. You've got to at least have 100 subscribers for that, Brian. So we encourage everyone to subscribe. Like Brian said, we're going to post live video. We're talking about us making our daily picks from time to time. And of course, those webinars, that's going to be the home for those sorts of situations. So you want to check that out. Search sportswagers.ca on YouTube. You can find it. There's also a link on the main page at sportswagers.ca. Subscribe, share with your friends, let them know. That's about it, Brian. What do you say?
I also want to say that if you got some time and you're going out, you want to see a good gambling movie, go see Molly's Game. It's based on a true story about a underground poker game that got bigger than it was supposed to, and it's a great movie. So if you like gambling movies, that's one that's looks like it's going to make some noise.
Well, I like it. Like Brian said, we'll be back next week and every week, all year long. For Brian Sherwood Steinberg, I'm Matthew Finney. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the sportswagers.ca podcast. Please rate, review, and subscribe. For free daily picks, visit sportswagers.ca.